Let me tell you something strange about silence and the digital age.
We live in a world where almost everything is shared. Birthdays, coffee cups, sunsets, tears, laughter, even pain, dressed up with filters that make it seem beautiful.
But some people stay completely invisible. They scroll quietly, observe deeply, but rarely, if ever, post. They're not antisocial. They're not shy. They're not behind the times. They're something else entirely.
Because in a world that's constantly shouting for attention, they've chosen silence.
And that silence is more than any post ever could.
Maybe you're one of them. Maybe you've always felt that quiet resistance inside you, the pull to step back, to observe instead of perform. If so, this might explain why. Chapter 1: The Quiet Observers. The first truth is this: people who don't post are not disconnected.
They're deeply connected, just differently. They see the world in layers. They notice things others overlook. The tone in someone's caption. The unspoken insecurity behind a smiling photo.
A subtle competition disguised as confidence.
They read between the lines. They observe the performance for what it is, a performance. Their silence isn't emptiness, it's awareness. They understand that attention has become the new currency, and they're not interested in spending their energy chasing it, because somewhere deep down they've realized something powerful.
Visibility is not the same as value. They don't need likes to confirm that they matter.
They don't need followers to prove that they exist.
They've developed what psychologists call self-concept clarity, a stable sense of who you are, independent of what others think. It's rare, it's fragile, and it's freeing. Chapter 2: The Pressure to be Seen.
But it's not easy to stay silent in a world that rewards noise.
Everywhere you look, there's pressure to be seen.
You're told that if you're not posting, you're irrelevant. That if you're quiet, you're falling behind. That if you're private, you're hiding something? We've built a culture where visibility equals existence. But let's question that for a moment. When did privacy become suspicious?
When did peace start looking like failure? Social media has rewired the human brain.
Each like, each comment, each new follower triggers a tiny rush of dopamine, the brain's reward chemical. The same system linked to addiction.
The more we post, the more we crave it. And the more we crave it, the less authentic we become. Because our focus shifts from expression to impression.
We start asking not what do I want to share, but what will get attention.
Non-posters often sense this trap.
They feel how easy it is to lose yourself in it. And they quietly step away, not because they don't care, but because they care too much about truth, about peace. Chapter 3. The Fear of Misunderstanding. There's another layer to this silence. The fear of being misunderstood.
It's not just social anxiety. It's a deep emotional instinct to protect what feels sacred.
You might have felt it too. You write something honest, something raw. You hover over the post button, then you delete it because you can already imagine the confusion, the judgment, and the awkward silence.
This is called social risk aversion, the psychological tendency to avoid emotional exposure when the outcome feels uncertain.
Non-posters often aren't afraid of being seen. They're afraid of being misread, because being misunderstood online hurts in a special kind of way.
It's like revealing your soul and watching it get reduced to an emoji reaction.
When that happens a few times, you learn to guard your inner world.
You stop offering it to a space that scrolls too fast to understand.
Chapter 4. The Depth Paradox.
There's a paradox among people who don't post. They often feel the world more deeply, but express it less publicly.
They might be the ones who cry during movies, who overthink goodbyes, who find meaning in small gestures.
They have what psychologists call high emotional granularity, the ability to sense and label subtle emotions.
It's a sign of emotional intelligence, empathy, and creativity. But it also comes with a cost. Because when you feel that deeply, social media begins to feel painfully shallow.
How do you compress the complexity of your inner life into a caption?
How do you share something sacred in a space built for speed, not depth?
You can't. And so many stop trying.
Their memories become private museums of meaning.
Their emotions poems without readers.
It's not loneliness. It's integrity.
A refusal to dilute depth for likes.
Chapter 5. The Energy Economy.
Posting isn't just a simple act. It's a mental transaction.
Every post demands emotional energy. Deciding what to say, how to say it, what photo to pair it with, and how it might be received.
It's called decision fatigue, the exhaustion that comes from too many small choices.
Now, imagine being an African-American female stick figure who overthinks everything.
Every word feels weighted. Every emoji feels like it changes the meaning.
They stop, not because they lack ideas, but because peace feels more valuable than performance.
They realize that attention costs energy, and not posting is a quiet way of reclaiming it.
Instead of curating themselves for others, they pour that energy into real things: learning, creating, reading, reflecting, building, living.
Their lives might look empty online, but they're overflowing offline.
Non-posters often live the richest inner lives because they haven't outsourced their focus. They've kept it.
Chapter 6. The Myth of Missing Out. We're told that if you're not posting, you're missing out.
That everyone else is building their brand, their audience, their network, while you're fading into irrelevance.
But this is one of the biggest illusions of our time.
Psychologists call it social comparison theory, our tendency to measure our worth against others.
But non-posters often see through it. They know that what people show online is not the truth.
It's the highlight reel.
The world is full of smiling photos taken right after arguments.
We must remember that even the darkest nights have a sunrise. This too shall pass if we only look for the light within ourselves.
Simple goals hiding months of silence. Non-posters sense the emotional dissonance.
They see that the internet has turned life into a stage play, where everyone performs happiness to avoid being forgotten.
And so they step off the stage.
They choose to live their story privately rather than audition for approval, because they understand something simple but rare.
You don't need to be seen to be real.
You don't need to be liked to be alive.
You don't need to post to belong.
Chapter 7. The Art of Stillness.
When you stop posting, something shifts inside you.
At first, it feels strange. You feel invisible, disconnected, like you're missing the conversation.
But slowly, something magical happens. You start to see clearly again.
You start noticing the world as it is, not as it's framed for attention. The taste of your morning coffee, the sound of rain on your window, the relief of being present without needing to prove it. Rediscover what psychologists call self-determination, living by internal values rather than external validate. You start realizing that not every moment needs proof. Not every experience needs to be uploaded.
Some things are beautiful precisely because they remain unseen. You begin to feel a sense of freedom, a quiet confidence that grows in the absence of applause.
You realize that silence isn't absence, it's space. The kind of space where you can finally hear yourself think. The kind where life becomes real again.
Chapter 8. The Unseen Ones.
Here's the truth. The people who don't post aren't outcasts. They're the quiet architects of meaning.
The ones who listen deeply, who feel more than they say, who find connection in observation rather than display.
They're the friends who check in privately instead of commenting publicly. The ones who remember your birthday even though they never post about theirs. The ones who understand you without needing words. They are the unseen ones, the ones the internet will never fully capture.
And that's the beauty of it. Because in a culture obsessed with exposure, they remind us of something sacred. That meaning doesn't need an audience. That value doesn't need visibility.
That truth doesn't need noise.
The quiet ones are proof that you can live deeply, think clearly, and love fully without ever posting a single thing.
They teach us that silence can be strength, that privacy can be power, that invisibility can be peace.
So, if you're one of the quiet ones, don't let the world convince you that your silence means you're missing out. You're not behind. You're simply ahead in a different way. Ahead in present, ahead in peace, ahead in depth. The world may not see you, but that doesn't mean you're unseen. Because the most real lives are rarely the loudest. And sometimes the most authentic story is the one no one else gets to read. Maybe silence is an emptiness. Maybe it's your soul resting. Maybe it's your boundaries protecting you. Maybe it's your clarity refusing to compete. The world doesn't need to know everything you think or feel. It just needs you to stay real.
If this woke something inside you, comment Silent Strength so I know you're one of the 10% who gets it, and subscribe because this is just the beginning of understanding yourself.